the bell pepper, only the part is inedible is that top part. So I'm going to make this easy. You see how I cut off the top and the bottom, and now I'm going to cut 2 sides. That way, see, the knife blade is pointing away. Good job. I'm going to pop this right open, and then I have 2 easy pieces to take care of. Now, here are those seeds. We don't need those. This can't be used for anything else, really, so we're just going to throw that away. Also, this little green part, we're going to throw this guy away too. But this, we can use these. Never throw away little items like this because it's wasteful. You bought it, so you paid for all of it, you might as well eat all of it. Do you eat bell peppers? No. So you're probably happy if I threw them away, huh? Okay, so I'm cutting it into manageable size pieces. So first, this is part of that where the seeds are, the membrane, we're going to get rid of that. And I just want to cut a little bit out, just like that. You see, if my knife is facing towards my fingers move over here. Always away. And then these little seeds are pesky. If they get underneath the tip of your knife, they'll make you slip. So you want to make sure all the seeds are gone. And we'll just scoop those right off of here right now. That is such a good job. And now I'm just going to flatten it out, and we're going to do julienne. That's like the other potatoes, the longer ones we had that made these small little pieces. All I'm going to have you do is hold onto the knife, curve your fingers under, and do cut, cut, cut. You see how the tip of my knife is staying in contact? You don't need to slam it down. Here, I want you to try a couple. Fingers curved. You want to make sure those are curved under. So now, if you wanted to continue to do the julienne like this, you can always turn them sideways, and then I want you to practice doing some dices too. So that means you can even make these wider if you wanted to, maybe 3 or 4 widths wide. Keep the fingers curved under. There you go. Good job. Nice. Good job. All right, are you ready? You've been standing here quite a while, very patiently. We're going to have you do onions. Do you cry easily?
Kind of.
Can I mock you if you cry?
Sure.
Okay. What we're going to do first, you see this? This is pretty much dirt. It's the root end. And then we have another bulb end over here. So the first thing, I'm going to use my paring knife. And again, I'm holding it in the, kind of like in the fist or the palm of my hand. And I'm going to cut off the root end as well as the top end. That way, I can easily get this skin off. You see there'll probably be 3 or 4 layers. And I'm going to show you how to dice as well as to julienne. Just in case for different usage, sometimes you want dice and sometimes you want nice thin slices. So see how I got all of that off? It's no longer shiny. Even some of this shiny stuff you want to make sure you get off, because that right there, your knife could slip on that as well. So that's dangerous. Good job. Now, for the 2 items, or the 2 ways to cut this, we have the root end, again, I showed you that before, and then the top end where the greens would come up. I'm going to cut first directly down the center of that root end, right down the middle. So I'm going to pick up my knife and watch. I'm going to set my knife on top, and then I'm going to put my hand over the top. I don't hold it down here, hold it over the knife, so you're going straight through all the way down. Once that's done, you can see I cut the root in half. See that? Mm-hmm. So it kind of goes through in here. So I will show you how to make dices. When we're doing dices, we want the small little squares. An onion is round on top of round on top of round, so they're not going to be perfect squares, but we're going to try to make them consistent pieces. So there's 2 things that you must do. We are going to cut straight down in a bunch of lines. Right here, you see the root end is still right here. We're going to keep that intact. We're never going to cut through that.
Okay.
So we're going to go 1, 2. You see how I'm not cutting through the top? Right here, we're not cutting through the top there. It's all intact. It only goes that far. And then just spacing them as far as how big I want the dice. See, now this, once it's done, the dices are going to be pretty small. You see that? It's about the width of that, so it's going to be a small dice. Nice job. You can start work on the next one. And you can see here down with Marissa, I placed a bowl of water in front. Why do you think that's there, Marissa?
To keep the potatoes fresh.
Right, so when you're done cutting them, why don't you scoop them up and hold them in there, and that way they won't oxidize. Oxidizing turns potatoes kind of a gray color, so this will keep them nice and white. Good job. All right, so finishing this, going on here, I'm just going to keep cutting straight down all the way through the onion, all the way down to the cutting board, all the way down. Fingers curved under, just barely using my nails to connect on there. So those are perpendicular, up and down cuts. Now I'm going to do a horizontal cut. These are all lines going this way, so now I have to go this way. This is where it becomes dangerous for your fingers, but if you know where they are the whole time, you should be fine. So I'm turning my onion sideways, and I'm just going to simply cut horizontally. See that? I'm still not going through that core. That's going to hold it all together for me. And they don't need to be perfect, but I'm going to cut sideways again, and you see how my fingers are way up on top. They're nowhere near that blade. And once the blade goes past, then I can move it. And you're going to have a lot of shrapnel, and that is fine. So now, the last one, I'll let you do, and then you get to do this one with a separate onion altogether. So now you're going to dice, because I've cut it this way and this way. If you just cut straight down, one row after, whoops, one row after the other, then we'll have diced onions. Let me see your fingers all curved under. And you have to put your thumb down, sweetie. There you go. Nice job. Look at that. Those are diced onions. You see that? Oh, good job, Asher. Okay, yep, you're cutting away from yourself. Are you done with your potato? Okay. Here is another one to practice on for you. Try to do really big dices, even bigger than this right here. And I'll come and watch. Even bigger than that. Careful, yep, fingers curved under. Keep that finger down. It doesn't give you any extra strength. There you go. Now put it on the flat side. Oh, those onions. Aren't you crying yet? Not quite. All right, so we have a little scrap of onion right here, and this can be used for stock. So I'm going to put this in our stock bin right down here. Okay, so I have my onions that are diced. Now let's do a julienne. To do that, we want to get rid of this. See that core? I'm just cutting that directly out. All right, so now we're going to julienne, which means we're just going to do long slices. And you can do it this way or that way. It doesn't matter. I'll let you choose. So now cut that, just straight lines as you were doing before. Good job. And then once you get about 5 or 6 of those done, let's look at the shapes. Here, just to make it a little bit easier. There you go. Now curve that finger under and make sure you push all the way through. If you slide through and push ahead, that means they won't stick together like that. Good job. Perfect. See? Okay. Now that is a julienne onion. This is a diced onion. Perfect.